A thread by Carlos Osuida. By now, President Trump and the First Lady know how much we love them. I perused mainstream media websites today, and I was reminded of a phenomenon I saw in the 1980s and never forgot. Drag racing. First, this is the thread I wrote last night. Link in the thread and video on this channel. Twitter is reducing the number of retweets, but that doesn't matter. They can't reduce the love we feel for Trump and Melania. The thread reflects reality. Twitter, of course, thinks that the thread itself is what matters. Silly rabbits. Back to drag racing. A drag race is an acceleration contest on a track or drag strip that begins from a standing start between two vehicles over a measured distance. There are more than 200 classes of race as determined by the National Hot Rod Association, NHRA. My brother is a vintage car fanatic. His era of interest is cars from the late 1940s to the late 1970s. He used to watch stock drag racing because the cars are minimally modified. He modified his 1975 GMC Jimmy into a drag racer. It looks exactly like this. Same color, same removable top. But he doubled the mileage per gallon and increased the speed to at least 140 miles per hour. The engine is completely customized. At some point, I had a conversation with a mechanic about it. My brother also occasionally watched Top Fuel drag racing, the fastest class of drag racing. The mechanic anticipated what I was going to say about the phenomenon I'm about to illustrate to you. After you watch Top Fuel drag racing, those stock drag racers look like they're just poking along, don't they? Links in the thread to both stock drag racing and Top Fuel drag racing, and in fact, one is much faster than the other. The Trump campaign is a Top Fuel drag racer. The Biden campaign, the Democrats, and the press are all stuffed into a stock drag racer. It's so easy to see now. Go around and look at what the Democrats are saying. The outpouring of love for Trump and Melania makes the Democrats look ridiculous. Now are you convinced? Now will you finally be happy warriors? Do what I did. Check out what Trump's enemies are saying today. None of it matters. There were a few leftists on last night's thread who I would let continue to comment because they were so bewildered by, in their second tweets, they became rabid with hate. Trump trumps hate. It's good that they're bewildered. They don't understand the paradigm shift. Politicians aren't supposed to care about the voters. Now that we have a president and vice president who do care deeply, leftists are flummoxed. How do they compete? The answer is they can't. Their supporters don't expect them to care. There are videos of young, white, rich Antifa members telling working class Black people to their faces, "We're destroying your lives for you. Don't you get it, man?" I get it. People don't matter. All that matters is power. The power to oppress. Orwell meant a leftist future. If you want a vision of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever. George Orwell. But that won't happen. Trump and Melania will recover fully, and Trump will win in a landslide. If you really think about it, the Democrats and the press are really in a Flintstone car. Here are Jake Tapper and Dr. Sanjay Gupta running to work in their Flintstone car. Breitbart.com, CNN's Sanjay Gupta, Trump doctors team are purposely misleading. They don't feel human emotions, and it's really rich hearing CNN propagandists talking about the need to be absolutely honest, like CNN is. Here's the problem for leftists. Tapper and Gupta hate Trump, so they think they can find the right story to make you hate him too. Their tunnel vision of hate makes them ignore the unprecedented outpouring of love for Trump and Melania. And physicians withhold information all the time. We know that. I wasn't allowed to know certain things about my parents' conditions due to privacy rights. Do we have any idea what medical conditions Tapper and Gupta have? Nope. So Tapper and Gupta are now backing up in their Flintstone car. The drag race started, and Tapper and Gupta paddled their little feet to take the Democrats further behind the Trump top fuel racer. They're going to ratchet up their hate, but the race is over. Think about this. They've been shown that attacking Trump is political suicide. We take it personally, but they simply ignore everything that doesn't fit into the narrative. They will stick to the narrative until the bitter end. The narrative is all they have. There was no plan B. Trump will emerge stronger, buoyed by our love. If you can't recognize the problem, you can't find a solution. Leftists have never delivered, so they can't comprehend that people love Trump and Melania. The grim, dreary, soulless leftist campaign of hate trudges on, and Trump soars.
I will be the greatest president that God ever created.